Welcome to Super Flixx, the podcast covering superhero, sci-fi, and fantasy movies. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, my podcast partner, Joe Hartley. What's up, man?
What's going on?
We are members of the Martial Arts Internet Network, and you can check out our other show, Fits, Kicks, and Flicks, every Thursday on the Martial Arts Internet Network. Just look for the Martial Arts Internet Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Joe, it's showtime. What's up, man? I don't know if you noticed, but I'm always messing with cards, man. I got Uno cards, and I just dropped
What?
yeah,
Why are you
man.
messing with Uno cards?
Because Champ was here a couple of weeks ago, and we played Uno. He's here every weekend, but this particular weekend we all played Uno together. Me, him, Melissa, and DJ. We had
Okay,
family game. So he didn't take his Uno cards back up to his room, so he left them here in my office.
of
So
course.
I got them here, and for the last few weeks, as we've been recording, Super Flixx and Fist Kicks and Flicks always have these cards in my hand, and I'm always messing with them. I just dropped a few, and these just not regular Uno cards, Joe. Look at this. You see?
Which one is it? Oh, Mario. Okay,
Yes, Mario Uno. Bray loves Mario and Sonic, so he got Uno. So
that's fun. I can't hear you, bro. Your sound just went out. Can't hear you. You're muted. This is not great. As you...
You still can't hear me.
There you go. Now we're back.
I don't know what happened with that, man. The whole time I could hear you,
I
and
figured as much, but it was you were just gone. I had you
yeah, I saw.
muted somehow.
Yeah, like I was saying, man, we supposed to have storms over here, man. I hope it's not messing with my internet, uh,
Hopefully,
because otherwise we're gonna have to start this all over, do it over again if we lose
it
power or
is
the
what it
internet goes
is.
off. So
It is what it is. We were last week, Sunday, that big storm that came through. I was at
hmm
my father-in-law's, and we were celebrating March birthdays, and it blew through real quick, but the power went off, went on, went off, right during cake and ice cream, and then it stayed off for like 10 minutes, and then it was back, and it was good. It was weird.
yeah, man. You know what? We were driving around, and literally, I walked in the house. We walked in the side door, and Melissa went to the front door just to look at it because it was getting dark as we were driving home, and it wasn't raining yet.
Yeah.
But by the time we got in the house and she went to the front door, it just came down hard.
Okay.
When we were driving, we got that alert. Did you get that alert on your phone?
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Yeah, well, I only got one, and it came through. So, but
But yeah,
hopefully
we
we good.
we were in Heartland at the time, so I think they got hit a little harder because I mean I didn't even have anything really down by my house.
Okay,
Thank God. Yeah.
and then it was
So
raining here today also. So
it was cold and raining today.
yeah, yeah. April and October. I'm really not a fan of those 2 months. April
Yeah,
and
I'm right there
October.
with you on that.
And it has nothing to do with sinus because I do have sinus, but I do have sinus. But you know what? The last 5 years, I haven't been eating meat, and I have not been really experiencing severe sinuses. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. But I normally don't like April and October because of the weather change. April, I'm like, hurry the hell up and get warm. I'm tired of the cold. And then it rains all the time also in April. So, I just don't like it. And then October for the first part of October, we're warm, and then it starts getting cold. And the closer we get to Halloween, it starts raining. And for whatever reason, it always rains on Halloween. It didn't last year, but most of the time, we got it's a wet Halloween, at least here in
Yep.
Michigan. So
Yeah, good old Michigan weather, man. You can always count it to be either really really good or really really bad.
right, very very unpredictable for whatever reason. How's everything been going, man? I know we just talked the other night when we did Fist Kicks and Flicks. So how's everything going, man? You enjoy your days off?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. So for me, been pretty chill, and kids are kind of getting back into the groove of things. So
Okay.
all in all, no problems here. Aiden, he's starting his play. Uh, Ava's doing her forensic thing. She's got the state coming up for that, so she's fine tuning her piece and getting ready for that. And then Layla, she's just kind of chilling right now. She's been helping. My wife started a painting class as part of the PTA to raise money for her classroom.
Hmm.
So she'll do like 25 kids, and she does a different grade each month. And they'll pay her whatever towards the classroom. I think it's like $20, and then she'll do like painting with a twist
Okay.
kind of deal. So
Hmm.
she'll pick something for the kids to paint, and then they'll paint it together, and so the kids will go and help out with that. And she's been doing pretty good with that. She's
Okay.
had 3 of those classes so far, making some good money for her classroom, so she can get some more art supplies and upgrade some stuff and keep it rolling. So it works out pretty good.
Okay. Um. So you just finished your first year of archery teaching, right?
Yep.
What are you going to do differently next year? Now that you got the hang of it. At first sometimes it could be a little rocky at first, but now I'm sure by week 4 or 5, you pretty much got an idea of the curriculum that you wanted to do.
So
So
I know I didn't tell it on here, and I don't remember if I told you the full story about how all that went down for
not
the
really. I mean, you
archery.
might have said it on Fist Kicks and Flicks, but I don't remember.
I don't think I gave the full story. It's not a
Okay.
long story, so I can tell it. Um, so for this is the first year they offered it for the elementary class,
Hmm.
and they were only doing it for 3 schools, and I think there's 5 altogether. So they had a coach for one school,
Hmm.
and he's like a Olympic archer, so he knew what he was doing. He was all on top of it. He originally said he was going to do all 3 schools, but the director told him that's a lot.
Hmm.
And luckily he didn't have to do that because he had some family stuff going on in the middle of the year anyway. So he would have been down and out with that anyway, and that would have been rough. But luckily, so he had the one school, and this was all we were at my son's meeting. Every before the season they have a meeting with the parents. Hey, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to cost, this is what we want to do for the year. Just lay everything out, little presentation. You're there for like 45 minutes. And she brought up the elementary school. So me thinking like, oh, it's Keith Elementary is one of the schools that doesn't have a coach. That's my wife's school. I just went to inquire, like, hey, what would it take to become an archery coach for Keith Elementary? And the lady directing it, she looked at me, she's like, are you talking about yourself? And I said, yeah, like, give me some information and I'll talk it over with the family, and then I'll get back to you. She was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. She's like, I'm real good friends with the principal, and yeah, we'll get that going. And I said, okay, whatever. So I went home, and the next day my wife comes home and she goes, so we're archery coaches now. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah. The director, she went to my principal, she asked her about it, we set it up, she's like, we're good to go. And I said, but that I said, wait a second. Now, luckily, I'm a guy who can, like, I'm okay with doing stuff on the fly like that.
Hmm.
But you know, at a point, you basically took what my question to you and just threw us in the lion's den. That's what she did. That's what she did. And like I said, if I wasn't interested in it and actually enjoyed doing it, I would have went to her and been like, wait a second, you're putting you're putting the cart before the horse here. And that's exactly what she did.
Okay.
And I did have a conversation with her about her later, because I said, listen, anybody else probably would have told you, lady, you're crazy, because luckily I'm an okay guy. I can work on the fly, and I got no problem teaching. I've been teaching, martial arts since I was 13 years old. So
Right.
teaching doesn't bother me. But what happened was we had to get our archery class going within 2 weeks. We had no information. We had
Right.
nothing.
Right.
So we had to on the fly, okay, throw this in, da da da. The other school, they knew they were doing this for months. He had 40 kids. He had
Oh
40
wow.
kids. We had 9. And then they didn't even have the equipment for us. So we had to go to the school with the 40 kids, which is a 15-minute drive for us and longer for some of the parents in rush hour traffic. So our first 6 practices were at the other school because they didn't have anything for our specific school. So they would have it all set up for us, and then we would have to wait for his class to end. Well, when he has 40 people, his class would run 15, 20 minutes late. So now we're not only starting late, but there's basketball right after us. So we're only getting 40-minute classes. And it was luckily we were able to do it because, there was less of us, so we could still make it work.
Yeah.
But
I
some of
see
the
that.
parents, were like, this is too far of a drive. This isn't what we signed up for. So eventually I had a meeting with the director and we talked about, can we get 5 targets, 12 bows, and some arrows, and then a curtain, and then we can shoot at our own school. And she's like, I got a curtain for you. I got the targets. Let me talk about getting the bows, and arrows are, no problem. So it took her a minute to get the bows, but once she finished, she's the gym teacher at my daughter's high school. So once she was teaching archery at that time. So when she finished, she had bows for us. And once we got the bows, we were able to do like our last 12 classes at our school, which is 5 minutes from my house. So
That's
that's
better.
what I like. And so all that said, once we were able to get at our own school, it was a lot better, a lot easier. So that is number 1. Number 2, we need a kit for fixing arrows and fixing bows because we kind of did. They never, we never got a kit for it, so we were kind of using our own stuff. But I didn't have all the proper stuff, so we weren't able to fix arrows. Now, luckily, my son's school, the two of the coaches there, they had their own kits, and so any arrows that I had that needed fixing, I'd take over there because we were running out of arrows left and right. And then other than that, I mean, we had the teaching down. They laid that all out for us in the class I went to. And then my wife's real good at looking up like tutorials just to help. She's like a sponge, man, when it comes to learning. I'm the type of person like I just learn on the fly, man. I'm like, get out here, let's shoot some bows. Okay, that's not gonna work. Let's just keep going. She likes to prepare and look at videos and tutorials and then start, using those. And that's fine because she would be like, send me a couple and I'd look and say, okay, I'll incorporate that into the next class. And we had all but one kid who never shot a bow before, shooting and missing the target. And then we had kids that were, starting to shoot over 100, 200, 220, which is pretty good because 300 is the highest. So that was in 14 classes. So
Okay. So what do you plan? So when does your season start for next year, or are you doing it next year?
Yeah, we're gonna do it next year.
Okay, when does it start? Because I think that you start doing that like around September or October, right?
I think it was September. Yeah.
Okay.
September is when you started putting everything out. We had the class, and then the actual class itself started like mid-September, and then runs all the way pretty much to the end of March, beginning of March, something like that.
Oh wow, so that's a pretty long season.
Yeah, I mean, I think altogether with my son, because my group can only do 3 tournaments, the in-house, but my son had available to him like 14, 15 tournaments.
Okay.
So, and some of them, like we went as far as Okemos, which is right outside of Lansing. So,
all right. So let me ask you this. Yesterday was April 1st, April Fool's Day. Anybody get you?
Almost. My son. So I got this drinking water cup, right? And
Hmm.
I keep it filled with ice water. It's like a Stanley or something like that. I don't even know. It might be one of the other ones. I got it for Christmas a while back, and so I keep it filled with ice water. But my family thinks it's funny because they make fun of me for having it, but then they all drink out of it. Yeah, it drives me crazy because I'm like, so I booby trapped it for one of them with some salt and vinegar, and then my son tried to get me back, but every time I was away from my cup and I saw
Mhm.
like someone had refilled it, I dumped it out. And he swears he didn't booby trap it, but I'm telling
Mhm.
you right now, I think he did for sure, and he won't admit it because I heard him giggling about it with my wife, and he was like mad that I didn't fall for it.
So you have your own cup. That
Yeah,
reminds me of That reminds me of Darwin, man. You know, Darwin used to have his own cup also. I don't know if he still does. But he used to call it the Forbidden Cup. Is what he used to call it.
that sounds like Darwin.
Yeah, man. And I went eventually saw it when I went over to his house, man. It was I can't remember what it looked like, but it almost reminds me of something like a king would a drink out of, man. And it's
He's
like,
got like a goblet.
yeah, something like that.
All right, that's what I need. See, I need to upgrade.
Yeah, Darwin was something else, man. He's something else. And I asked him a few years ago at my uncle's tournament, karate tournament, I'm like, you still drink out of that 4B? He's like, yes, the Forbidden Cup. Yes, I still drink out of it. It's like, goodness, guy.
I love
Uh,
it. I love it. That's
that's
funny.
pretty funny.
Next time I see
Um,
him, I'm gonna ask him about it.
yeah, DJ got me this thing. DJ was the only one that got me, man. I picked her up from school and said, "Hey, how you doing?" She was like, "All right." I said, "You have a good day?" She said, "No." I was like, "What's wrong?" She said, "I got in trouble." I was like, You got in trouble?" Instantly, I'm curious. I'm like, DJ's a good kid. Like, nothing. She does not do anything wrong. And then she quickly said April Fools. I was like, okay, you got me. But nobody else was getting. I wasn't falling for anything. I would see stuff online. I'm like, nah, I'm not buying it. I would see headlines and everything online. Not buying it at all. I wanted to talk about some comic news, but I don't even know what's real or not. So I'm gonna wait till next week when the April Fool stuff has died now because I don't want to report on anything that I saw that's
Oh, I know,
obviously not
right?
real.
Yeah,
So
I
I
just looked up some trailers the other day. Saw some
uh
good stuff, and
what did you go ahead?
I just like I said, I was trying to. The first thing I do when I go to click on a trailer is I look at the comments, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, no, I don't see anybody complaining about it being AI, and then I see it has a lot of views. Okay, I'll check it out. But I
Did
didn't really see a lot of comic stuff yet.
what did you think of the Karate Kid Legends trailer?
I like it. It looks
I
good.
Yeah, it does, man, and I'm glad that I got a better understanding about the movie now because we knew that kid was coming to America for some type of training or whatever. And at first we didn't know. We thought Daniel was going to be searching for answers about Mr. Miyagi and all of that because of the events that was happening in Cobra Kai. But this shows a young man coming to New York, and Mr. Han, who is Jackie Chan's character, he goes out to California, goes to the valley to get Daniel and ask him to
Yo,
help him train, his student, but in New York, you know. And there is a connection between Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han. I don't know what that connection is. I'm very, very interested to find out what that connection
they
is.
should. They'll probably explain it. I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Oh, they definitely will because I saw in another clip that wasn't in the trailer. I saw a picture of I saw a video of Daniel looking at a picture of Mr. Miyagi and Mr. Han, and they were together. The picture that had them side by side together, and they were younger.
Yeah,
It was the Jackie Chan circa probably in the '90s, sometime in the '90s or whatever. So they did know each other. So I'm very very interested to see what the connection is between those two guys. So that I'm excited about that. As far as the schedule for superhero movies, I think with DC and Marvel, both of them are doing the films and the TV shows. And I think they should do because I know Marvel's normal schedule is have a movie come out in February. They used to do 4 movies. They used to have a
yep,
movie come out in February. They will have another movie come out in May. They will have one come out July, and then they will have November. They will have 4 films come out. And now this year they're doing February, they're doing May, I think they're doing July. I think Fantastic Four comes out in July. But then that's it for the year. There's nothing else coming out. I think that what they should do is, I think in maybe like around September they should come out with a television show. Maybe in September,
Hmm.
a TV show in September. If you want to do that, have a TV show come out in September, and maybe have another TV show come out in November.
Well, they got
And
Daredevil.
well, they have that, but I don't think it's not a schedule as to when
No.
these shows come out. It's just, you're just kind of just sitting around waiting. You know that they want to keep having fresh content for Disney Plus.
Yeah, but the
So
next shows that they're trying to put out I don't even think they're connected to the MCU. They're almost like,
what are the
well,
shows?
Young Avengers might be connected.
I haven't seen anything about a Young Avengers show.
I've read some different Reddits and stuff talking about it, and then Marvel Zombies. I heard Zombies is gonna happen.
But I think Zombies is a cartoon.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be animated.
I'm not as
That
interested in that. I mean, I like the zombie story is always fun and interesting because I think it
I'm not a
started
zombie
with
person at all.
I
For
think it started with
anything.
What If. Yeah, but think about it because
Yes,
they
you're right.
got like Venom, Venom as a zombie. They got Scarlet Witch. They got Iron Man as a zombie.
Captain
Like,
America.
that's crazy.
I'm
Yeah,
not really. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not into zombies. I'm not into gore. That is definitely not my thing. I don't care if people like it or not. I mean, that's cool if you like it. I'm never going to tell somebody what they should and shouldn't like, and what's good
for
or not.
sure.
But that's just the zombie thing. Just never my thing. So. And then DC has a television show. This is interesting. They had a show coming out called The Dynamic Duos. The Dynamic Duos. It's not Batman and Robin. It's Robin and Robin. It's Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Both the first two Robins. They're going to be. I'm not sure if it's animated or if it's live action though.
Now I wonder if they're using the two because they had those two in
Hmm
Titans. Did you watch Titans?
I did watch Titans. I haven't finished the last season though,
Oh, it
but
was pretty good. They wrapped it up pretty good.
good. That's one of
But
the one
I
of the
like
complaints.
the Dick Grayson and
Yes,
the
yes,
Todd from that one, so I would like to see them if they were going to use those two.
yeah. I think the kid that played Jason Todd was. I hate to say this, but I think he was a little short to be Robin, especially because
Yeah,
he eventually became Red Hood in Titans, and I'm like, you still look little though, you know.
yeah, true. Red Hood and then the other what's his face becomes why can't
Tim
Nightwing.
Drake. Oh, you talking about yeah.
Nightwing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did like Titans. I'm not sure if those characters. I doubt it because it seems like they're doing a whole reboot of the whole DC universe. I don't think anybody from the previous regime are going to have anything to do with this new stuff. I didn't like in Titans that Bruce Wayne was so old, so much older though.
Yeah.
They didn't. I mean, that guy that played him, if he was in his 50s, he looked like he was in his 60s to me. And I was like, this
Yeah,
guy
that
looks
was
a
more
little
of
too
a
old.
Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, if that's the case, then you should, you got to have the other kid playing him, So
Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Did you see the trailer for Fantastic Four?
I have seen a trailer, but I don't know if it's the one that you've seen. I've seen one or two trailers.
They gave it like the old school um like hop shop kind of look. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So me and Travis and Avery were talking about that, and I could not tell. Obviously it is not in the Marvel movie universe right now. Like they're in a different universe, and I
Yeah.
think they're gonna come into the universe that we've been watching over the
Oh, okay,
last few
that
years
makes sense.
because it
That
looked
makes sense.
old, but it also looked futuristic at the same time. It did not look like it was current time.
Like I said, it was interesting to me. I'm not thrilled by the people they picked, but the movie looks good, so I'm okay with it.
You're talking about Pedro, aren't you?
Nah, I mean all of them. I don't
Oh, okay.
really care. I don't really care for all four of them, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Ben Grimm doesn't matter because he's going to be
No.
a Rock anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It doesn't really matter with him.
but I don't know. And Pedro Pascal, I like as a actor. Like I just
He's
watched
just not.
Gladiator 2. He was fine, but he just doesn't fit like Mr. Fantastic to me.
No, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. He doesn't look like Mr. Fantastic to me. But you know what, man? Marvel, I'm kind of used to, I'm at the point now where they have, I still enjoyed the movies. Even at first, I'm not really thrilled about the casting, but it always seems to work out. So I'm not gonna really
Yeah.
feel, but I get
No,
you.
I'm
I,
okay with
I
it.
understand. It's like if they said Nicolas Cage was gonna be Wolverine, I'm like, what? I can't see that. That doesn't that doesn't look right.
Okay, but now I kind of want to see it. I'm just
I don't.
saying.
He was supposed to play Superman.
No. Oh, for real?
Oh, you never heard the story? Yeah, he was supposed to play
No.
Superman. He was supposed to be the next Superman, and
I
Warner
can't even picture
Brothers,
that.
they start shooting it. Actually, like there are scenes that was actually shot. So he had the role and he was doing stuff, and then eventually, Marvel, I mean not Marvel, DC shelved it. Kevin Smith did a documentary about the movie, and I watched it a few years ago. I'm going to try and find that documentary online and rewatch it because I can't remember what happened, but it
Oh
was supposed
man,
to come out in
he
the
looks
90s.
terrible, Gene. He looks
Yes, yes,
terrible.
yes.
He looks like emo Superman. This is awful. Gene, this is terrible.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
awful.
But
Oh,
you,
I'm
you
so
gotta watch
glad that didn't happen.
you gotta watch the documentary, man. You gotta watch the
I'll
documentary
look
because
at the documentary,
it
but
was a
I'm
lot
looking
of
at these pictures. What the hell?
it was a lot of studio
Bad.
interference also. Do you remember you seen the Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember in Wild Wild West there was a giant spider that Will Smith had to fight the guy? Was it his body was a spider or something like that? Well,
Yeah.
anyway, that was supposed to be in the Superman movie with Nicolas Cage. That was the idea of Warner Brothers, and they wanted it in the movie. So since they couldn't
Oh,
use it for Superman, they ended up putting it in Wild Wild West.
because they spent all that money.
But when I heard that, I was like, "Why? That sounds like a dumb idea. Superman fighting this giant spider. Like, come on now."
Has nothing
Anyway,
to do with the comics or nothing. Come on.
well, that leads us to Superman 4. What do you think of Superman 4? That is our movie for today.
I don't know, man. I got a lot of issues, but it was fine. The movie was fine. I mean, it
Oh,
was
I'm not saying that. We are on different.
at, at this point, it's pretty much the same movie. They just Lex is going to be Lex. The fact
Mhm.
that they made he just I mean, even starting off, okay, we start off in space. There's a Russian team in space. How did Superman know they were there?
You know what? Okay. I was going to mention this to you on the last podcast. Superman would never rest because there is something going on at all times on this planet. There is something going on somewhere. He will be zipping all over the planet at all times, putting out fires, rescuing kittens from trees, stopping a police chase, stopping a robbery. He would never stop. So for him to all of a sudden, like, what was he doing? Just hanging out in space, flying around, just surveying the Earth.
That's what I
Because
was trying to figure out because I'm like, we're watching this Russian spaceship and there's problems,
Mhm.
all over the place. And then Superman just shows up.
He just shows up out of nowhere.
And he speaks Russian.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like,
Well,
okay, sure.
that's because of his super learning. He can learn
Oh
something.
yeah. and then he goes and he's on the farm in Smallville. He's selling the farm, but he doesn't want to sell it. There's a big contractor, probably someone who wants to tear it down, make a bunch of manufactured homes or something. Who knows? And so he
They
wants
never.
to sell it to someone who's gonna. He wants to sell it to another farmer.
They didn't even need to have this part in the movie because
I agree. What was the point?
we never go back to the farm for. Well, we do go back, but they.
But he's also in his spaceship. Why? I thought he already got the last bit
Yeah.
of green rock out of the spaceship.
Yes.
So why is there another one?
Yes. You're right. You are 100% right.
So I don't know. They do a lot of weird stuff sometimes in these movies.
Yeah.
But
yeah. They do.
yeah. So for whatever reason, they felt this was necessary. Now, my other problem with this movie is, do they even try to connect the movies to each other? Because
They just take it. They just assume you've seen the other movies.
but I'm saying the other movie
Oh, they
ended
do. They do. They do
with
because
Lana Lang,
Mhm.
and then Lana's gone.
yeah, she's not in this movie, but they do because Superman gives Lois back her memory.
Only for a minute and takes
Yeah,
it right back.
yeah, takes it right. So that's a way of him. So that's how I see him connecting the movies. So
Yeah,
obviously
but I'm
they're
saying, I thought Lana was going to be in this movie, and it was going to
Mhm.
be like a love triangle between
yeah.
him and Lana and Lois,
They
because
did
and it
well.
made no sense.
They did it with another woman. They did the
Yes,
same thing that
but
you're saying. It was just somebody else.
they really didn't do a love triangle with it, because this one was interested in Clark and the other's
Yeah,
interested in
yeah.
Superman.
You're right. You're right.
And then they
And that
played
was stupid
they
too.
played the age old Superman and Clark have to be in the same spot at the same time bit.
Yeah, we'll get there.
When we get to that, because that was dumb.
You know,
But you know what's crazy? You watched the Arrowverse, right?
yeah,
So I forgot that John Cryer was in this movie,
yes,
and John
yes,
Cryer
yes.
played Lex Luthor in Supergirl, and
Yep,
then came back in the Arrowverse to play Lex Luthor, and he
yep.
actually did a pretty good Lex Luthor.
Actually, he was better than Gene Hackman's. I'm sorry. He's
Oh,
better than Gene.
100% better than Gene Hackman's.
Yeah, but Gene Hackman
Actually,
is also Gene
he was
Hackman's.
better than the younger Lex Luthor they had on Smallville as well.
Gene Hackman is better than Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, Jesse Eisenberg was awful.
Yeah, he didn't remind me of Lex at all. I felt like he should have been the Riddler. He would have probably played a
Yeah,
perfect Riddler, but as Lex, I don't know, like being all quirky and giggling and
Jesse
laughing.
Eisenberg gave me Dr. Evil vibes. Every time I watch that movie, I was just waiting for him to be like, $1 billion. Like, no.
Yeah, I couldn't. He's not my favorite Lex, but
No. But it's funny because so John Cryer's in this as Lex Luthor's nephew, Lenny.
yes.
And he's that like stoner,
Mhm.
Bill and Ted kind of
Yeah.
character.
Th-
And
this movie lost me at the very beginning. At this part, this is when the movie lost me, and I said to
so,
myself, "Go ahead and say it." I'm gonna say
oh
what
yeah.
I said to myself.
No, go ahead.
I said, if it wasn't for the Daredevil movie and Catwoman, this might be the superhero movie version of Karate Christmas Miracle. This Superman
Oh
movie
no.
might be. I don't know. We haven't. I haven't watched. You know, as many superhero movies as I have martial arts movies now, but this movie is at the bottom. It might be. It might be Street Fighter level.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or Double
But
Dragon.
but
One of them.
wait.
It's down there.
I think I've told you this on Flixx and Flix before. I don't think Daredevil with Ben Affleck's that bad.
Yeah, I know you did. You and Michael from Kids Kicking Cancer. What's Mike's last name? I don't know it.
Man,
You know?
I forgot my
Okay.
I
Well,
have him on my phone somewhere.
every time I
Yeah.
see Michael, I tease him about that because he always says
Oh, for real?
Daredevil. Every time because he always says Daredevil was. I even call him Matt Murdock sometimes when I see him. I call him Daredevil.
Yeah, he is kind of like.
I said that because he always like it's not that bad. I'm like, no, dude, like that is
him and I have, and I don't remember what Angel's take was.
No,
but,
I don't know, but yeah, man. So go ahead and tell about this part.
So we're back at the quarry with Lex Luthor and his henchmen, and they're chopping rocks because that's what you did in prison in the 80s apparently. And this random car shows up, which I'm sorry, by the way, when you have a chain gang of prisoners, no random car is going to get that far. You're going to have 20 plus guards, and the second this car gets within 2 or 3 miles of this prison yard, it's gonna this car is not going to be able to get in.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this wild ass car shows up, and the police are kind of looking. He's acting lost, and they're asking him about his sound system. Which, by the way, he's got like tubes coming to the side of the car. And the police get in the car to hear this quote unquote sound system. It's the dumbest thing. Like, you're on the job, bro. So they get in the car, and then the car is a trap because Lenny Luthor, he traps them in the car and sends the car off a cliff, not far enough to blow up completely, but far enough to, get these guys incapacitated and then take off with Lex.
No. These sheriffs should have been dead. When he drove, because he had a remote control, he locks the doors, he brings the windows up, he brings the hood over, and he locks them in this car. Then he remote controls and runs them off the cliff. And we see the car flying through the air. It lands on top, upside down.
Yeah, I know, and it explodes, but they crawl out like it's a cartoon.
Yeah. Exactly. That at this point, this movie lost me. I said, okay, this is dumb because he just committed murder. These two guys should be dead now. He should just go on and put on the black and white striped suit like Lex and be working on this chain gang. Also, I was like, where are the other officers? There's a bunch of these criminals out here and only 2 sheriffs out here. That's it.
I know. I said the same thing.
Ridiculous. These guys, these sheriffs should have had broken necks, broken backs, or just dead. There's no way they should have. You can't, sometimes you can't even survive a car accident, let alone being drove off a cliff, Thelma and Louise style, and you land upside down and survive. And all you do, you just got black smoke on you. That's it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a mess. So that's how Lex escapes this time, and wonderful, stupid fashion. Then we go over to the Daily Planet, and we see that it's, I guess, a hostile takeover by David Warfield and Lacey Warfield, his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Perry White's not having it. This guy's claiming that the Daily Planet hasn't been making money. So that's why he was able to take over, and he's trying to change everything. He wants just bold headlines that are all BS. Like, basically, he wants a what do you call it?
The Inquirer.
Yeah,
he wanted it like those type of magazines, the Inquirer, or that newspaper used to be called the News or the Sun. Like, it was just fake headlines.
And so that's what he wants people doing. He don't care what your experience is. Just get out there and put out scandals and whatever else you can find, and it's all BS. And his daughter's, kind of on board with this for the time being, and they're canceling Lois's trip to Spain or Paris, wherever she was going, and and Clark's trying to help, Perry get back on track, and everything's a mess at the Daily Planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the president is talking about nuclear weapons throughout the U.S. and then overseas. A problem that we always seems to come up no matter where you are, here and there, trying to denuclearize everyone. And so then we pan over to a school classroom, and for whatever reason, the teacher decides to make it like a school project to write to the congressman. And there's this boy, is his name Jesse?
I don't remember this guy's name. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's Jesse. This little boy Jesse was like not paying attention. He don't care about any of that, and he his suggestion is, well, just have Superman take care of it. Which obviously it sounds stupid when you say it out loud, but it's really not that stupid.
Right. Right.
I mean, if you have a big problem and Superman can take care of it, like, and everyone kind of laughed at him at first, but then, I mean, it makes sense.
Did you see this when this kind of happened in the cartoon movie, the animated movie, Injustice?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of makes, it kind of made it made sense. Superman was pretty much, he had enough of all the fighting and all the wars and everything, and he took control of himself.
But at the same time, his dad had told him when he was in his pod that he's not allowed to interfere with the.
That doesn't make sense because that's all he
No,
does
I
is
agree.
interfere.
Exactly.
That's all he does. Like, if that's the case, then he should not be saving a bus when it's hanging over the edge of a bridge. He should just let it fall. He's not supposed to interfere.
True. On top of that, there's also this weird like museum, and they got Superman's donated a piece of hair, and it's holding up 1,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Extremely random. I mean, why not have a pair of his boots or something?
Mm-hmm.
Why
And
just a strand of hair?
And how did Lex get that hair? And why did he want the hair?
So he could create his own anti-Superman, I guess, but
Mm-hmm. So,
it's not what he created. He created something stupid.
yeah. So how did he get the hair? What did he do?
Well, after he broke out of prison, he went to the museum,
Mm-hmm.
and with a pair of bolt cutters, he broke the glass
Mm-hmm.
and cut the hair.
Now, I wouldn't think that the bolt cutters would have been able to break the hair.
That's what I said. If you're holding up 1,000 pounds with a piece of hair,
Right.
you're telling me all it takes is a pair of bolt cutters? Just snip?
Yeah. Nah.
Wouldn't you need some kryptonite?
You would think so. You know what? Yeah, because I think I read something years ago because someone was saying, how could Superman shave? Because he shouldn't have been able to use regular razors. And I think, I can't remember what they said he did in order to shave. I'm gonna have to look that up, and I'll have that for you next week.
Be interesting.
But yeah, Lex should not have been able to cut the hair loose with just those bolt cutters.
So Lois brings a letter to Clark because Clark is supposed to be good friends with Superman, and it's a little concerning. It's the little boy Jesse wrote to Superman about stopping and getting rid of nuclear war, basically. And so it sparks big old Daddy Warfield. David Warfield is his actual name, but I'm calling him Daddy. He reminds me of like Daddy Warbucks from Annie. I mean, that's what he acts like. They decide to have like a full day and to get a response to Jesse's question about everything. And the first time they decide to put out a headline, because this is their new idea, that basically that Superman tells Kid to drop dead.
Right.
But I know when Clark read the letter, you could tell he was very torn on what to do. Because on one hand, he wants to help, but on the other hand, he doesn't know that he should really be interfering at all.
Mm-hmm. Now,
go ahead.
What's weird to me is if I'm Lois, I'm not giving it to Clark. Lois sees Superman more than Clark does.
True.
And if she knows that Superman and Clark are such good friends, you would think she would interview him and find out, more about Superman. How do you even know him?
They just say, "Oh yeah, you guys are such good friends. Good job."
Yeah.
It's not really a thing.
Did you get the feeling that throughout this whole movie that Lois knew that Clark was Superman?
To a certain extent, but I don't know. Is she? I guess she's playing dumb, maybe.
That's what I was wondering up until the very, very end of the movie. I thought she was going to say something because I'm like, why did you give him the letter? And then she gives him something else later on in the movie. And I'm like, huh. And then, well, we'll get there. Go ahead.
Well, at this point, I mean, when he's thinking about what he's going to do about this nuclear thing, he decides to reactivate Lois's memory.
Mm-hmm.
But he
Yeah.
jumps off the building with Lois as Clark Kent,
Mm-hmm.
and then transforms into Superman and catches her, takes her flying.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. This whole part was weird to me because it's like,
Very weird.
so, like, what are you doing to this poor woman's brain that you can just activate and erase her brain?
Yeah. Not only that, when he was talking to her, she says, I remember everything. So when she said that, I was like, has she always known? Because she looked serious when she said that.
I agree.
And then he kissed her again and knocked her out and took
Yeah,
her
I
away.
don't.
But why even
This
fly
whole
around with
power
her?
is so. I don't know, because he needed her approval of what to do. He
He
says.
could have
He said, I I can only talk to you. You're the only one I can talk to about these
but
things."
he could have got that information from her as Clark. He didn't
Yeah,
need to be Superman to talk to her, you know. Yeah, like you said,
I don't know.
that whole thing was weird.
I think they like to create this connection between her and Superman, even
Mm-hmm.
though technically it is Clark and Superman. They're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
But she acts like, oh, she despises Clark, but then she loves
I don't think
Superman.
she despises him. I just think she acts like
No, she
she just
acts
she
like, oh, being Clark, no way, that would never happen.
that's like a little brother to her. Clark is like a little
Yeah,
brother. Yeah, no, you know what? That's right. I don't think she knew. Or they just the writing was just bad. Once again, I'm talking about the writing because if she did know that Clark was Superman, she wouldn't have been trying to hook him up with Lacey. And she
yeah,
was all for
true.
Clark dating Lacey, even though she kept telling Lacey that it's not going to work. Like he is pretty much a goody two shoes, and it's not going to work. You know.
So, needless to say, Superman shows up at the summit with Jesse, and he basically says, "Yeah, I'm going to stop all nuclear war,"
Hmm.
and everybody's like, "Yay, good job!" Which I don't know. It's kind of weird because
The planet would have turned on Clark. Let you try and do that now. There's no
that's what
way
I'm saying.
America is going to just let you come over and take the nuclear weapons away. There's no way Russia is going to let you take weapons away, or
Well,
Iran or Israel. None of these countries are just going to let you take their nuclear weapons.
and think of what you have to do just to sign these peace treaties.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're not. It's going to be a problem. And the
Yeah, and
way he does it is even crazy
yeah,
because
it
like
made it
he's
look like
literally
all of the world leaders were okay with this. Okay, if you guys are
yes,
okay with this, just dismantle your nuclear weapons. That's it. You don't
exactly.
even need if you guys want nuclear weapons to go away, just take them
Because
apart. End it.
but the way he did it, he went around the world collecting
Hmm.
nuclear weapons and putting them in a net in space
Hmm.
and tossed them into the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking like,
And
man, are
like
you
you
gonna
said,
create solar flares or something doing this? Like
I
why
was
didn't
thinking
he
the
just
same thing.
why didn't he just throw them away in space? Like not necessarily, I mean, because they're not gonna work.
It
Why
was
just float them away like instead of throwing them into the sun?
it's got to be dramatic.
Yeah, I guess.
And then we get Lex Luthor, and I don't even know who these. Is he with terrorists? Like I don't even know who he's weapon makers,
Yeah, I think they were arms dealers.
nuclear warhead dealers. I guess is
Hmm.
what he's calling them.
Hmm.
Okay, so whatever. I didn't realize the world took 3 people to be nuclear arms dealers to supply the whole world.
In this
Whatever.
reality, yeah, I guess.
So for whatever reason, Lex Luthor convinces him he's the only one that can help bring nuclear war back, but it's going to cost a whole bunch of money. At the same time, he's going to take out Superman with his own version of Superman, which is Nuclear Man.
Yeah.
Where
And
the hell is Nuclear Man from? Is that really a character?
I don't think so. No, I think they made
I
it
don't
once
think so
again.
either.
They just made another character for the movie. I don't think he was ever in
But
the
again,
comic.
they had so many characters they could choose
Yes,
from.
I knew you. I knew you were going to say that. I
It
knew you
drives
were
me
going to say that.
crazy. It
Yes.
drives me crazy. All these you start off the first movie with Lex Luthor. Okay, cool. He's a goofy
Hmm.
Lex Luthor. He didn't really do any Lex Luthor type of stuff, but whatever. He's in the movie.
Hmm.
And then the second one, you give us, Zod and his people. And then 3 and 4, you don't
They're
really
just
give
making
us
up stuff.
anything.
Yeah. He is in the comic, but he was first created for the movie. So yeah, yeah. He was made for the movie.
I don't know. Nuclear Man is stupid.
Yeah.
He's played by Mark Pillow. He's even
Well, no,
dumber.
no, well, no, 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 no. I think the first guy is the original. Yeah, it says Mantle's original Nuclear Man. So Clive Mantle, this is the guy who is in the movie. I guess he's in this character has been in 2 movies. I don't know what the other movie is.
Well, I've never heard of Nuclear Man in the
Mark
comics.
Pillow
So.
plays the second Nuclear Man.
Oh, he was
Oh
in another one?
yeah, that's what this says. I'm not sure
Well,
what movie
whatever.
though. Guess we'll get there
So,
one day.
whatever. Somehow the way that Lex Luthor does this, he uses the Superman DNA. He creates some kind of whatever, puts it in a missile that he shoots into the sun, and then that activates his creation and creates Nuclear Man. I don't know.
Oh no, hold on. Well, I'm looking at Wikipedia. I don't know. It says that it is
No,
portrayed by Mark Pillow, but who knows?
I've just never heard of Nuclear Man. Like I said, there's so many other bad guys that could have. You got so many good ones. Why? I don't know why they use Nuclear Man, but whatever. So we get Nuclear Man. He's basically like, I think he shoots like radiation or something like that. Something weird. He's
Yeah, I
got
guess.
claws. He's got super strength like Superman. Um,
But how
he
he was created was stupid.
It was
So
very stupid.
so that's why Lex needed the hair from Superman, and I guess he just figured out how to clone a person while he was in jail somehow.
Yes.
He figures this out, and he set Superman up because he had them launch a rocket, and he knew Superman was going to get the rocket, intercept the rocket, and he intercepts this rocket and throws it into the sun, and that is how this person is
Yeah.
created with
And the
fully
person shoots
clothed.
out of it.
He has clothes on, has cape and everything. That was
That
the
Lex Luthor
worst.
is amazing.
That was the worst creation of a supervillain that I've ever seen.
It was
That was
really bad.
absolutely horrible.
Even worse, then he Lex Luthor said it so was set up to this creation was supposed to listen to him. And when he first shows up, he doesn't listen to Lex to the point where Lex has to use his weakness against him, and his weakness is cold. Now, the thing that was killing me with that is all Superman took forever to figure that out somehow,
Hmm.
but still never all he would have to do is freeze breath him.
Well, no. And also he can't be around the sun. So he had to be away from the sun. Remember when Lex first introduced him, and this
Yeah.
Nuclear Man was getting tough with Lex, and Lex just pulled the curtain.
Oh,
He lost his
I thought he hit him with some frozen.
no. He
Okay.
just pulled the curtain, and he
Oh,
lost his
okay.
power.
So it's the
And,
sun.
yeah, it's the sun.
Gotcha.
He gets his power from the sun.
Okay, that makes more sense because
And
then
then
that's
that's why
why.
later on in the movie, when Superman outsmarts him and he runs into the elevator and he snatches the elevator out the building, if he
That
can't get out
was
because he
that was ridiculous too.
you don't even know what to say.
I, that whole part killed me because I was like, "You're tearing up this poor building just to get rid of this dude."
So yeah, so
Um,
his power is the sun. That's where he gets his power from. And when the sun, he does not have direct contact with the sun, then he loses power. He just kind
gotcha.
of powers down.
That makes more sense than having to be frozen, I guess. But I don't know. All of it's weird because the next part we get, like I said, we got this uh double date set up, and it's Superman and Clark with Lois and the other chick.
Why would
And
Clark think this was a good idea?
why does Clark do anything that he does?
Yeah,
He's literally he has to keep coming up with excuses to leave each situation to come
I
back. And
miss
he's supposed to be doing an interview as
mhm.
Superman.
I miss when he agreed to do this thing. I didn't even see him say, "Yeah, I'm about to set this double date up."
I don't
I
know,
really
me
don't.
neither.
I don't remember when he agreed to it. But all of a sudden, we see him running around, switching from Clark Kent to Superman.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, so he's pulling this off poorly, I might add, but he's pulling it off, like actually making it work. But then Lex Luthor reaches out to where only Superman can hear, and he just leaves.
Yeah, but how did even Lex even know where he was at?
He doesn't need to. He just sends out a frequency for him to
No,
hear.
remember when he was on the screen? He was on that screen. Also,
Yeah,
one of the buildings.
I don't think he was. Oh yeah, I guess you were right.
And
Well,
then
either way,
he told him, he's like, look out, don't you see that building over there? He's like, go to that building. I'm here. I have a bomb here or something like that. It's like, how did you know who he is? So now does Lex know that he is Clark Kent also?
he's never said he does, but maybe.
Yeah, he didn't.
Um, yeah,
Some
that.
I'll be disappointed if this Lex Luthor does not know that Clark Kent is Superman because
But
he's
tell me
supposed to be
how
the smartest
Tell
criminal
me how
ever.
Clark Kent. Tell me how Clark Kent and Superman didn't get cussed out by both these women
I have no idea.
because he left them hanging.
Yeah,
And to make
because
matters worse, he got into a fight with Nuclear Man, got scratched, and then both Superman and Clark disappeared
yes,
for like
yes,
days.
yeah. Still, nobody put that together. And that's when Lois came to visit him, and she was going to break into his
Yes.
apartment, and she brings him the cape because they put in the Daily Planet that Superman was dead.
Yeah, they said he died.
Yeah, so they were up. So she was upset about that because nobody had seen Superman, and they didn't think it was weird that Clark hasn't been around either. Superman and Clark and both aren't around again together. So then she
They
goes
should have
over to
figured it
his
out.
apartment and she sees that he's messed up. He's sick. He's sick. He just says,
Extremely
you
messed
know, he
up.
has the flu or whatever. And she gives him the cape. Why? I
She
was like,
said,
does she, I was like, did she knows?
if you run into Superman,
Clark
you
looks
might
sick as
need
hell.
this.
He looks sick as hell. I wouldn't think he's going anywhere for days. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm Lois, I'm going to think I'm going to see him before Clark would because Clark is clearly
But
sick.
how did he actually say how he healed himself?
No, so they showed him go back to the farm, even though he's sick
Yeah,
as hell. They show him go back to the farm, and he gets that crystal thing again,
I know, but
and he
that
just
just
hold it. Now he looked
it
old.
just heals him.
He looked like he was dying.
That's what I'm saying.
So at the very beginning of the movie, we hear his mom talking about this crystal, she says, "Okay, this is the last little bit of power from Krypton. Once it's gone, it's gone. So use this wisely." When she said that, I said, "Okay, that's the end of the movie right here. This is going to come into play at some point, or else why else would you even mention this crystal and the power it has?" And then the ship disappeared also.
Yeah.
That just kind of vanished. So now fast forward to this part of the movie, he goes back to the farm. Don't know. As bad as he was seen in an apartment, he shouldn't have been able to make it to Smallville. Like I don't think he flew. Maybe he took a bus or something. But anyway, he's back in Smallville at the farm. And that's another thing. Like when we first see this coming with this crystal, he puts it in his coat.
Yes.
Remember when the guy came to sell the farm, he put it in his coat. So I'm thinking like you're gonna take it with you. So did he must have just put it back where his ship
I
was?
guess.
That wouldn't make any sense. But so now at this part of the movie, he goes back to the farm, he looks old, he has the crystal, and that's all we see. Next thing we know, he's better. That's the same thing that kind of happened in the second movie. Because
Yes.
he should not have gotten his powers back, but somehow, which they don't explain, he gets his powers back.
Okay, but so a piece of Krypton can hurt him, but a Krypton energy crystal can heal him.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know the difference. I guess, but
No, I don't either because it looks like kryptonite. It didn't it? It looked like
that's what I
kryptonite.
said. So
Now,
I don't know.
also Lex knows the way to beat him is with kryptonite. Why
No
didn't he just
kryptonite
make a
used.
Why didn't he just make a kryptonite man? If you have the ability to make someone and give them powers, why would Nuclear Man not have kryptonite
Well,
powers or something?
one of the greatest parts of the comics for Lex, like Lex was always intelligent, trying to use his intelligence, but eventually he just gets on Superman's level. He makes a suit made of
Hmm.
kryptonite to try and fight Superman. So I mean that would have been better to me than this crap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even though I'm sure it would have looked ridiculous because everything Lex does in this movie is ridiculous.
Hmm. I did not like the special effects in this movie. It seemed like the studio did not give them enough budget for special effects because the flying looked really really bad. When he would get hit or throw something, it looked really really bad. I almost swear I saw the strings swinging him around when he was flying
And we're
because
like, you know what, y'all? This is movie number 4. People are just gonna go see it. It's okay.
right. Yeah, it did
So
not
yeah.
look it didn't look good at all.
So needless to say, Superman tricks Nuclear Man into an elevator, then grabs the elevator, throws it up, takes it up to the moon. They fight on the moon
The moon look
until Nuclear Man's power goes away because of the
the,
no contact with the sun.
the moon looked really soft too. The moon it looked really soft. And this is one of the things that I always wondered about the moon landing because we saw the flag up there, right?
Yeah,
There is no wind in space. That flag should not be waving in the wind. There's no there's no wind in space. Number one. Number two, the moon is made out of rock. You're just not going to just stick that.
obviously,
You can't just stick that pole in rock and have it stay there. So how's that
obviously, they don't
flag
have
just have
scientists helping out with this
Well,
movie.
I'm
Okay,
talking about real life also because the video footage I've seen the flag is waving, and how did you put that thing in the ground? It's rock, it's not dirt. So
yeah,
how do you stick that pole into the moon and have that flag standing there? I've never seen any type of explanation on that. It's rock.
oh, dude.
It shouldn't stand.
Okay, I'm just now seeing this. Somehow I missed this. How did he bring Lacey to space and she
Yes,
survived?
and she survived. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He
Even
goes
holding her breath, she would
so
die.
so Nuclear Man, for whatever reason, he was looking for Lacey.
Something
Why?
with a story. I don't know. There was a story he didn't like that was in the paper.
Really? Because I missed that. So he was looking for her.
That's all I saw. I don't know why, but that's all I saw.
Yeah, and he took her to space. She didn't burn up as she was leaving the Earth's atmosphere, and she was able to breathe and look around in space. She didn't freeze in space or anything like that. She survived in space. I think at one point in time, Nuclear Man even dropped her, and Superman went and caught her or something like that.
Yeah, that was
Ridiculous.
absolutely
Ridiculous.
ridiculous.
They said forget reality. Use your imagination that this is reality and this works.
Yeah,
I mm,
it was crazy.
yeah.
I got no words. I
And
don't know
Super
how I missed that, but I'm just sitting there now watching it going, what the hell am I watching?
yeah. Superman even moves the moon in front of the sun.
So he just causes a solar eclipse.
Yeah, not only that, he should have messed up the earth the oceans by doing that.
Yep.
There should have been some serious tidal waves going on.
What a mess. Anyhow, very last part of this, Perry White gets the Daily Planet back. He's going to set everything right because at
Yeah,
one point
he
Clark
bought
and Lois
shares.
were fired. So
Yeah.
he bought everything back, and everything's supposed to be back to normal until whatever this next movie in 2006 we're going to see, I guess.
So he beats Nuclear Man. Um
Takes Lex back to jail,
yeah,
drops Lenny off at some group home.
he could have grabbed Lex at any point and just took him back to jail. Like why do you have to beat Nuclear Man first and then take him back? The fight
I
with
don't know,
Nuclear
man.
Man and Superman, I did not like. I did not enjoy that fight at all. How did he even defeat him? I don't even remember.
Move the moon in front of the sun, taking away his power, and then
Yeah,
threw in like a radioactive disposal.
yes, that's right. He dropped him over a nuclear plant, and he fell into the nuclear plants. And by him going inside of the nuclear plant, I guess it just energized all of the people's electricity and everything. Every single movie, the ending, beating the final person does not make any sense. You know, beating Zod and all of those guys, they just fell down. They just
Yeah, I
fell
know.
down into the Fortress of Solitude, and he left
Yeah,
Lex in the Fortress of Solitude also.
the '80s never understood like real boss fights. That must have been something that happened more in
I
the
don't know, man.
'90s.
I think it's this because they did a good job with Star Wars. They did a
Yep,
good job.
true.
They did. I mean, there's a plenty of '80s movies where like even not even superheroes, just regular people like 3 O'clock High. You remember that movie 3 O'clock High?
Yep.
That kid in that he beat the bully at the end. Back to the Future, they beat Biff in the end. It's this movie. It's this DC stuff. This DC writing was not good at all. And unfortunately, Christopher Reeve was one of the people who did the screenplay for this movie. And then the other two guys, they went ahead and wrote the movie. His other two writing partners that did the screenplay with him, but this was just not a good movie to me. It was just really, really weird. And can you imagine what kind of score it would got if it came out now in 2025 just like this? That movie would have been killed.
It might still have been killed. I could probably look it up.
It probably would have made what, maybe $400,000 at the box office. It wouldn't have made a lot if
The
this movie
budget was
came out.
17 million, so
Man, it was 17 million. Man, let me see how
that's
much
what
it
it
made.
said when I looked up.
Yeah, I wonder how much it made. Oh, it made 36 million. So it was profitable. Made 36 million, 17 million budget, 36 million. So it made money. But all right, what grade are you giving this movie?
D.
Yeah, I'm going even lower. I'm going D minus. D minus. Like I said, if I had never seen Catwoman or Daredevil, I would put it at an F. And Catwoman and Daredevil, I have not seen those movies in a long time. So when I watch it now, I might have a different take on them, especially now that we're reviewing it. I'm just not watching to watching this. But man, I think I've seen both of those movies twice. But I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy them or not. So
Catwoman should have been better than it was. The
yeah.
writing and the everything was terrible. Because I mean, Holly Berry should have been great.
Hmm.
So that's on them for that.
But they didn't even stick to her being
Yeah,
the
I know.
real Catwoman. Like she was just somebody else that is called Catwoman. She wasn't Selena Kyle or anything.
No,
Was she even in Gotham?
probably
I
not.
don't. I don't
Who
remember. I really
knows?
don't remember. Somebody,
I
please,
don't
if you
remember.
guys watching and please don't yell. I really don't know if she was in Gotham, but it doesn't seem like it. Only because of I don't know, man. Just I don't know.
And like I said, Daredevil to me, they got everything. Ben Affleck wasn't great, but I didn't mind the story. I loved the Bullseye. Colin Farrell's Bullseye was great, and Jennifer Gardner as Elektra was always pretty good. So I don't know.
So you don't remember Superman Returns, right?
I only saw it once, so
Hmm. Okay, I only saw it once also, but I think that you're gonna go, "What the heck?" when you see it. You're gonna say,
I
"What
believe
the
it.
heck?"
I believe it.
I don't remember it being a bad movie though. I don't remember it being bad. So this will be
I
the last Superman movie
What
that we
is the
watch for a
best
while.
Superman movie? Because I can't remember any of them being all that great.
Well,
Was Man like I don't remember Man of Steel that much. I know
I
Batman versus Superman let me down.
you know what? You have to watch the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman.
The Ultimate,
Yeah, they put out another version of that movie, and
like
it
they did
makes
with
it
the Justice League, because the
yeah,
Justice
but
League
it's not.
second time was good.
Yeah, that is almost like a second movie. I was thinking about this when we do Justice League. We might need to do both versions. We might need to do the theatric version and then the Snyder cut because those two movies they're not the same movie.
Yeah, I know.
Very different. And the Snyder cut we might need to do that in two parts. So we'll do part one and two, then we'll do parts three and four. Because I mean we're not gonna watch. I'm not gonna have us watch 4 hours because it's a 4 hour. It's a 4 hour movie. You
I
know.
don't mind.
So you don't
Uh,
mind.
I,
I don't think
I'm sick in the I'm
I
sick
don't
in the head, man. I
I
can.
don't think I can get through.
I've literally sat down and watched like, and this was the director's cut of Lord of the Rings. That's 10 hours of movie,
10 hours. Oh my gosh. I've
and
no
I've watched it. I'll watch it straight through.
just you had nothing to do that day. Huh? You able just your family does
I
not bother
was
you?
I was doing so I was doing an overnight stay, taking care of elderly gentleman at
Okay.
night.
Okay, got you.
So unless he blew his whistle, yeah, I didn't have really
Got
much to
you. You
do.
wasn't at home.
So,
Okay, got you. All
but
right.
I enjoy it. So
So we're gonna wrap up Superman. We're gonna do Superman Returns next week. After that, I think we should go into Batman. And then after we do the Batman movies, we'll talk about it and decide where we're gonna go after that. But when we do Batman, I want to start with the '60s movie Batman, not this
yeah, I
TV
know.
show. They did that '60s. I gotta see if it's on Max or what it is on because I have no idea where we can find it, where we can watch it. But I want
That's my favorite part about this podcast compared to this Kicks and Flicks. Right now, most of the stuff we want to find is either on Disney Plus or
yeah,
Max.
yeah, yeah. So I
There's
think this
no running around looking for movies.
and you know what too about that? Best of the Best 2 is now on YouTube. I watched it the other day. Because remember we had to watch it on some, bootleg
Yep,
website. Now it is on YouTube and I watched it the other night. Clear,
fantastic.
it looks like you're watching it on Max or Netflix or something like that. So
Good.
I was happy to watch that the other night. Still a good movie. All
Hmm.
right, so next week we're gonna cover Superman Returns, and then after that we're gonna do the Batman. I don't even know what years that was. That 68 for Batman, or what was that Batman movie? Let's see. I gotta put together the thumbnail also.
I always enjoy Adam West Batman, even though he's silly and stupid.
It is definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be silly. Uh,
I think
19.
it's funny because watching Family Guy still keeps Adam West alive.
Yeah, it does.
You
That's
know what I'm saying?
1966.
So
1966. All right, so and I haven't seen that movie that came out for Batman in a very long. I haven't probably seen it since the early '80s. So I know it's gonna be campy. I know it's gonna be silly, and I'm not going to grade it like we would a Fist Kicks and Flicks movie or even the Super Flicks movies that we're watching. Like, it can't be harsh on that because you already know what you're getting going in. But imagine if this Batman movie or any of the Marvel movies were like the Superman movie now. Like, we would kill it. It would be horrible. It's just a different time, so we have to grade those a little bit differently.
But that show and that movie was revolutionary at its time because it was
Oh yeah.
basically like bringing the comic to life.
Yes,
If
that's
you're
that's exactly
watching
what
a
they were doing.
comic, they literally put bam,
Hmm.
pow, boom, like they put that into the show
Yeah.
and into the movie. So that's why it is the way it is. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
like watching a comic.
Yeah. All right. So for all of those who are listening, make sure you guys check out our other podcasts, Fists, Kicks, and Flicks. This week we covered Creed 1, and that was a pretty good movie, so we enjoyed that. So check that out and all of our other reviews that we done on Fists, Kicks, and Flicks. That show primarily we cover martial arts movies on that show. So if you like Joe and I, you can't get enough of us. Go ahead and check us out on Fist Kicks and Flicks. And we got another partner, Angel Diaz, with us on that show. All right, Joe, you got anything else?
Oh man, I'm good.
All right, everyone. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay super. And we will see you guys next week.